This video discusses service recovery. We talked in previous video parts that customer service is inconsistent. We can use standardized services to help alleviate some of this inconsistency. When we offer personalized service, we can offer extensive training guidelines to help our employees. However, because they are inconsistent, service failures are going to arise. There's really no way around some sort of service failure occurring. So rather than focusing on the negatives that a failure occurred, retailers need to focus on the opportunities that these failures generate. You're probably thinking that's a little counterintuitive. How can a failure create an opportunity for the retailer? If a customer is complaining or a customer brings to the attention of the retailer that there was an issue, this creates an opportunity for the retailer to say something's not working. What is it? How can we fix it? So by focusing on these opportunities and by focusing on the commitment to the customer to solve the problem, the retailer demonstrates their high level of customer service. And in the end, it actually increases customer satisfaction and their purchase intention of returning to the retailer to buy additional merchandise or services and creates positive word of mouth. A negative situation can be turned into a positive one for both the retailer and the customer. The customer feels satisfied. Hopefully, they're going to buy the merchandise or services again, provide positive word of mouth, and for the retailer, they understand where a failure occurred. They understand what happened. They understand what went wrong. And so they can potentially alleviate the issue so it doesn't happen again for other customers. We've got 3 steps in recovering from service failure. Number 1, we need to listen to our customers. Customers are emotional when they feel that there has been a failure in the service process. Now, this failure can honestly be a real failure, something went wrong, or it can be an imaginary failure. The customer feels like something went wrong. It doesn't actually have to be a true failure. If it's a failure in the eyes of the customer, then the retailer has to treat it as a failure in their eyes as well. The first step is listening to the customer. The customers are incredibly emotional, and by giving the customer a chance to complain and get their complaint off their chest, it's going to reduce that level of emotion. The employee should not interrupt the customer. Let them complain. If it takes 30 seconds, great. If it takes a minute, okay. If it takes 2 or 3 minutes or longer, keep listening. Never interrupt the customer while they're complaining. Let them get everything they need to get off their chest, because if you interrupt them, they're going to be even further irritated. They're going to feel that you didn't listen to them because you didn't. They're going to feel that you don't understand them because you don't know what the actual problem is that they're complaining about. So, first things first, listen to the customer. Once they're done complaining, once they're done bringing it to your attention, make it clear to them that you're happy that they brought this problem to your attention. Customers want a sympathetic response. They want to feel heard. They want you to be happy that they complained. They don't want you to even be more irritated than they are. In this situation, you should also never assume that you know what the customer is complaining about, or what solution you want, or what solution they want. So, step 1 is all about the customer. Listen to the customer. Let them complain. Let them air their issues. Do not interrupt them. Do not offer solutions yet. Do not say, "Oh, I completely understand what the issue is." Nope. Don't assume that you know what it is. Don't assume you know how to fix it yet. Just listen. In step 2, we need to provide a fair solution to our customers. Customers want to feel that they are being treated fairly. They base their perceptions of fairness on how they think others were treated in similar situations. In determining what is fair for the customers, we have two types of fairness that can be assessed. First is distributive fairness. In distributive fairness, this is looking at a customer's perception of the benefits received compared with costs in terms of convenience or monetary loss. Distributive fairness is saying that what you get is based on the costs of the issue, so time and money. Let's say, for example, I'm complaining about my meal at a restaurant. Let's say I ordered an entree that came out undercooked and cold. My perception of what would be fair based on using this distributive fairness is based on the costs of the issue, so time and money. Let's say my entree costs $50. Let's also say that I drove an hour and a half to get to this restaurant. What I would expect from the restaurant might be different than what somebody who ordered a $15 entree and drove 10 minutes to get to the restaurant would be, because my time to get there was longer and because my meal was more expensive. I may expect that the restaurant create a new entree for me for free and give me a free dessert. Whereas the individual who purchased a $15 entree and didn't drive quite as far might expect the kitchen to remake their meal, or might expect their entree to be free, but not a free dessert. In distributive fairness, it's based on the perceptions of the customer. What may be fair for one customer is not necessarily fair for the other. If the restaurant offered to remake my meal, such that as they would for the $15 entree, I don't feel that that's fair because I drove further. I spent more time to get there and my meal was more expensive. What is fair for one is not always going to be fair for the other. The second type of fairness is procedural fairness. In procedural fairness, we're talking about the perceived fairness of the process used to resolve complaints. This is saying, was there a procedure in place? Does the restaurant have a procedure for when customers complain about their meal being cold or undercooked? If the answer to that is yes, was that procedure being followed? Were there guidelines to say, okay, when a customer complains about their food being cold or undercooked, this is what we do, and this is what we do every single time, no matter how far they drove or how much their meal cost. In procedural fairness, the customers typically feel that they have been dealt with fairly when the store employees follow the guidelines. If the manager of the restaurant followed the guidelines to say, all right, I understand that you're concerned your food was undercooked and you say it was cold. When that happens, this is what we, the restaurant, offer. And so this is what we will be offering to you. The third step in service recovery is that we need to resolve the problems quickly. Customer satisfaction is affected by the amount of time it takes to get the issue resolved. If we can empower our frontline employees to move quickly and to make decisions in solving the customer's problem, it will increase the overall customer satisfaction. Now, there's a catch to this though. So although resolving the customer's complaints quickly increases satisfaction, if the complaint is resolved too quickly, customers may actually feel dissatisfied because they don't feel that the retailer took the time and effort to give them the personalized attention that they deserved. Retailers must recognize that there is a trade-off between resolving the problem quickly and taking the time to listen and show concern for the customers.